your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
We're going to bring Andrew Berkshire on in a minute just to talk about some stuff that we have planned for. Am I allowed to say Olympics or do I say the games?
The 5 ringed sport event.
Okay. All right. First thing we want to let you know is that on Friday this week, Friday evening, what usually happens on Friday evenings on the SDPN Twitch channel?
I stream Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's 20. That'll be in 2025. But what about in 2022? What's the usual schedule?
Well, our GM analyst, Jesse Blake, tries to win a Stanley Cup with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
And he is still going. Because it's easier said than done.
So
apparently.
tell me, Adam, why you're kicking me off of my stream.
Yeah.
And you are disappointing the crab people.
I'm disappointing the crab people. I'm hoping the crab people will still want to come to this party.
No,
but no, they will not come to this
No.
party. They're just saying no to this party. So the NHL All-Star Skills Competition happens Friday, and we figured why not, for the first time ever, do a live stream, because Steve doesn't do enough of those.
No.
Do a live stream of the skills competition and all the new events. All of us just sitting in the studio chatting. So it'll be like a 3-hour-long podcast with the skills competition. You'll be able to watch on your the broadcast term second screen. Be able to watch however you want, and then so we're gonna watch the game with you or watch the skills competition.
It better not be 3 hours.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's going to be 4.
Is it 4?
They got a... Okay, here's what... First of all, that was a burp.
I didn't mean that.
Yeah, you just right into the mic.
It's the bubbly. Sorry.
We might just edit that out.
All right.
I don't think people want to hear burping into the mic.
No, leave it.
Leave it.
All right.
It's real. It's what people want. It's real.
I don't know.
I laughed and then I don't know. Anyway, sorry. It just came out. Excuse me.
We got to bring Berkshire on, but you got to tell that date story.
Which date? Oh, the burp story? I can tell that story. I'll tell it with Andrew on. Andrew will be like, yep, that sounds like you.
Oh, okay, great. What were we even
I was saying how it shouldn't be 3 hours, because if it starts at 8, we can't be going till 11 p.m. NHL, get your stuff together if you're putting on a 3-hour event like that.
Okay, so this is the first All-Star game I can think of, or skills competition, whatever you want to call it, where not all the events are in the same building. How are they going to execute that and have it not take an eternity?
Yeah, they have the 2 events, one at the Bellagio, one on the Strip.
How close is the arena to the Strip?
I don't care how close it is. There are boats involved.
I think they have the guys already out there.
Yeah, they're
I don't think they're going to be in the arena and then, well, maybe, but then they truck them over while the other events are going on.
Jesse, are you assuming the best?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it's not going to take 3 hours, because by the end of 3 hours, we're going to be like, okay, this is a little much.
How long is Machine Gun Kelly's last album?
And they have a performance in the middle, or at the beginning, or whenever.
Can't wait.
Oof. Also, I think it's a 7:30 start, not 8.
Yeah, so we will have
7:30, yeah.
will have the podcast and we will have the live stream and we'll see how long it goes. Because boy, it's gonna be fun. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some more carbonated drinks there, Burp.
Yeah. Hey Jesse, do you mind turning down my headphones just a wee bit? Just
Sure.
because we're a
Yeah,
little...
the burp was really loud.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't. It got right into my eardrums.
That's not yet.
I also want to let you know that the women's hockey tournament for the Olympics starts tomorrow. Noxie and Cax are going to have another episode tomorrow, and obviously they're going to be covering that tournament. And that brings us to this individual who I mentioned earlier. I'd like to welcome on Andrew Berkshire.
Boo! Hey! How you doing?
Hey,
So,
I feel like a regular at this point.
yeah, really. So,
Yeah.
Andrew, the big plan for the games, the 5 ringed games, is what?
Well, we are going to relaunch Game Over International, and this time it won't be canceled after 2 games.
Woo!
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Oh god!
We don't know that.
Famous last word.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, the guy who decided to do a stream after every Habs game thinks things are gonna go great.
Yes.
Oh,
Why
boy.
would things get any better?
Oh boy! Well, at least they play. At least there are games.
Oh,
dear.
So
Do they play, Steve? Do they play?
Well, they're there.
And the
They
thing is with
attend.
these games is that most of them are going to start at like midnight. Like
How do you
yeah.
feel about that?
You know, I am feeling very interested in changing my sleep schedule entirely because this show is going to be very different than what we've been doing thus far with Game Over. It's not going to be live right after the Canadian women's game because, why would we do a live show at like 2:00 in the morning? It doesn't make much sense. So this is going to be essentially focused on the hockey mostly, but also talking about big moments for Canada throughout the games. And we're going to go live every morning at 6 a.m. So I'm going to be up all night watching Olympics so that I know what I'm talking about and not just reading things off of a sheet.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what happened, as I saw it. And we're going to have on some great guests that are not going to be as insane as me, but also covering the Olympics. And it's going to be incredibly fun.
So that's going to be 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Now, I guess I can also talk about this. Steve, you might not even know about this.
I don't think I
The
do.
PN has come in. There's the SDPN. Now, the PN,
yes, the PN. Yeah, I was
which
like,
is Jesse and I.
this is the only announcement I knew about.
And
so.
Andrew. We're excited because I believe, can we talk about this? Can we talk about the weekend shows?
Yeah, because Andrew's going to be doing it Monday to Friday, but like who fills in on the weekends? Because Andrew can't do everything, so he can't do it 7 days. We got to have somebody fill in those extra 2 days.
Can't do every damn thing.
All right.
So, what are you guys signing me up for extra work?
6 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, Steve.
Steve, you're going to be hosting Game Over International on Saturday and Sunday.
Kick your ass.
Yeah.
Kick both of you. No, stop clapping.
Cheer
I'm
for
not doing it.
Steve. Remember,
Not
Steve's
doing
your
it.
man. Steve's your man.
Steve's doing it Saturdays and Sundays.
No.
Steve's your man.
No.
Why are you refusing this job?
Because I am a goddamn father. I know he is
I've
too.
got
I don't
two.
care.
He's got two.
Yeah, so they cancel each other out. Everyone knows that's how it works.
One takes care of the other.
Yeah.
It's logic.
Come on, man.
No, what's really going to happen is your friend and our friend and a friend of the world, Tic Tac Tomar, is going to come in and he's going to be filling in. Now, we're obviously we're going to kind of run test this, so sometimes the technology or whatever is going to be tricky. So I want you to show up for Omar in droves at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
I love it.
Yeah,
I want to see what he brings up first, Michael Bunting or Dragon Ball Z.
it'll be. It's a good question.
I love these because I want you to subscribe to it on the podcast feed or go to the YouTube channel. And when you wake up, you get an Olympic update. There's your Olympic update. Everything when you were sleeping. Here's what happened. Here's what you need to know about the day. And Andrew's going to deliver it to you with a great guest. And it's going to be a perfect wake up for the next 2 weeks because everybody wants to know what's going on. How many medals does Canada win? And like you can go and you can scroll on the Score app or whatever app you use to check sports or whatever. But here you get a person talking to you for 30 minutes. You turn it on while you're getting ready in the morning. And it's going to be so much fun. So I'm very excited for this.
Also, I should mention Game Over International is the theme. Is the feed to subscribe to, right? So not Game Over Montreal, although you should subscribe to that too, because why not? If you're a Leaf fan or you're a fan of another team and listen to Montreal lose every game, what the hell? It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Bask in someone else's misery.
Exactly.
But Game Over International. So Andrew, I want to talk about something here while we have you. Can you talk about? There was a tweet that you sent out. I think it was late last week, maybe even this weekend.
Oh no.
And you said this team, being the Montreal Canadiens, are a car crash.
Yes.
What are you
I was
seeing?
wrong. It's more like a train derailing.
Okay. What are you seeing from the team now that even at the beginning of the season wasn't as bad as this?
I think it's just it sets in for a lot of the veteran players that there's no hope of anything. And I think that when you're this bad and even when you do play well, things still go against you. The goaltending now is like they don't have Jake Allen. He's on injured reserve. Carey Price is possibly, we don't even know if he's ever going to play again based on the press conference that he had. So he intends to play this season, but he left open the possibility that like if rehab doesn't go well on his knee, that just might be a career. And that would be like incredibly sad after what he did in the playoffs last year to just be taken out of it the same essential way as Shea Weber, right? So it would be like another blow, but you could tell that just by Price talking, a couple of the guys on the team kind of got a little bit of energy back in them. Like Gallagher was all over the place in his first game back, but it's just, there's very few guys that are pushing it to the limit. Right. And I think it's easy for media people to like jump on those people and be like, oh, they're not trying, they don't deserve to wear the jersey. But when you're in it, I think it's very reasonable that like maybe they're only putting in 90% effort, and 90% looks terrible because usually you're pushing yourself past the limit of what you think is possible trying to win in a highly competitive sport.
Mm-hmm.
And the only guys now that are really doing that are the guys who always do that, which is like Gallagher, Arturi Lehkonen, Tyler Toffoli in a totally different way than those guys, but he kind of rules with his intelligence. Nick Suzuki, who at times has played 25 minutes a night as the first line center. Like, I was talking to a couple of friends who are Canadiens fans, and we're trying to look around the league and like how many players at 22 years old are a coach's first choice at even strength, first choice in the power play, first choice in the penalty kill, first choice in the shootout, first choice at 3-on-3. That's what Nick Suzuki is. There's no breaks for him. So like he's had a disappointing season, but like the pressure is entirely on him. Like the guys who are actually feeling it, like it's got to be the weight of a building on your back, you know, and then not having the fans either. There are games where they seem to apply some pressure and they score a goal and they get back in it. And then there's like that dead spot. So you don't have anything to get you back in the game fully and keep that momentum going. And plus the goalies are letting in like 4 of every 10 shots. So that never helps.
Suzuki's had like a ridiculous career so far. He's one of the first draft picks of an expansion team, gets traded in a major trade for the captain of the Montreal Canadiens. So he's the guy who has to replace him. Surpasses all expectations, goes to the Stanley Cup final, signs a ridiculous deal, and is playing 25 minutes a night. I took some heat this past week for talking about when does pride enter into it for the Habs, and you sort of touched on it. I'm not saying they're playing without it, but there are situations where a team can be bad and a team can be losing, and it becomes toxic. You mentioned they're not getting a single save, which takes you out of the game before the puck is dropped. Do you think there's anything this management group could do or should do to at least get a body in front of pucks before the end of the season, or do they just write it off?
Yeah, I feel like you can't let this level keep going because I know they want the first overall pick, because why would you not if
Of
you're
course.
this bad? But the the level that they're playing at is like embarrassment level. Like the last team to be this bad is the 1989-90 Quebec Nordiques, which were like unbelievably bad. If you exclude expansion teams like the Atlanta Thrashers, San Jose Sharks, and Ottawa Senators, they were also this bad, but that was under the old expansion rules where they got no good players.
That was the team that got Eric Lindros first overall, I believe.
No, that was Owen Nolan. Eric Lindros was 91. They
Yes.
weren't
That's right.
bad to get Eric Lindros. They won 16 times in the Eric Lindros year. The Canadiens are on pace for 13 wins.
Whoa. So
Like,
they've got
that's-
8 so far.
it's
That
dire.
means they have 5 more to go. That's what they're on pace for the remainder of the season.
Yep.
And it's hockey, so they can make that up in a week. Like
They could.
They could, man.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like believe that they could do that because first of all, they haven't won back-to-back games this year. Not once. And even games where they do play well. Like I think the season turned from a bad season to like a complete mess in a game against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Golden Knights came to Montreal. Montreal pounded them in the first period. The shot count was like 26-2, but they were only leading 1-0. And in the next period, it was like Jake Allen's first real bad game of the season. He allowed like 3 goals and 4 shots.
Oof.
And you could just see like everybody on the bench slump. And it was like, even when we do everything right, we're not going to get it this year. It's just not going to happen. Nothing is building for us. So I think that the focus needs to shift. And this is partially on coaching to building towards next year. So that means like building lines that are going to stick together for next year. I feel like if they're not going to sell Arturi Lehkonen and Tyler Toffoli this year, that line together with Suzuki that they're doing right now makes sense. It means leaning on the young guys, guys like Michael Pezzetta, who are kind of like the fan favorite this year because he always gives his all because he's trying to earn a spot and he's like scoring goals with his face and fighting guys a foot taller than him and getting his teeth knocked in. So he's just always out there. Play him 10 minutes a game instead of 4 minutes a game. You know, just let them have some fun. Look at what you have for next season and not worry so much about getting Hoffman his like 18 minutes. I mean, he's been all right lately after a stretch of flat out not caring, but you can't be so focused on trade value that you lose what you can build towards next year. Maybe that comes after the deadline, and maybe Carey Price coming back at some point gives them a little bit of hope and they play better towards the end of the season. But right now, as it is, like, they can't let this go too long because it's just too ugly and it's not fit for this level.
Is it time for, I guess, fans and the organization to write off Montembeault as like an NHL starter in the immediate future or even the distant future? Because like what he's shown this season, like coming in, he was never supposed to be the next Carey Price, but there are expectations that he could step in as a solid backup to Jake Allen while Price is out. And he's never materialized into that. Is it just time to be like, okay, this is probably an AHL starter for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, Montembeault is 25, so I don't think they really viewed him so much as a prospect, so much as a stopgap. He either puts on like a blisteringly brilliant performance or like ECHL level. And I feel bad for him because he's not exactly getting much support. And Caden Primo's in the same boat. He's just a little bit younger. I think Primo is the one that they have to worry about a little bit because he's not NHL ready right now. And at 22, you want to see a little bit more out of him. And he hasn't been able to put together like 2 good starts back to back, like not even like NHL level starts. He's had a couple really, really good games, and then he follows it up by getting pulled. I think he's been pulled in 4 out of 7 starts or something like that.
Oh,
So
my God.
Man.
it's not a great scene, and the goalies aren't being supported, frankly, but they need more out of them.
Okay, I'm legitimately depressed because of this conversation. So let's
Try covering it every game.
exactly, right? So what is your oasis in the desert? Like what are your little things that you're hoping happens for this team on a nightly and weekly basis on and off the ice?
I think there's not much in terms of on ice product that is giving people hope right now.
Right.
I mean, seeing some guys come back from injury is always good. I think Toffoli coming back into the lineup, they were getting their teeth caved in by teams, but they were at least like trying. Whereas before Toffoli was in the lineup, it was bleak. Like, it was just like Nick Suzuki against the world. Everybody else was phoning it in, and it was brutal. But Toffoli kind of gave them a little bit more jump, so they have like a little bit more offense. Not good offense, but something, right? Not scoring 1 goal every game. And, Gallagher coming back gives him a little bit of jump. I want to see Paul Byron play because he missed half the season with hip surgery after playing through that for multiple years, apparently, where he was just in terrible pain the entire time. So that's interesting. And I mean, I want to see Carey Price play just because I'm a fan of Carey Price. I have been since he won gold with Canada. He's one of the best goaltenders of his generation, right up there with Henrik Lundqvist. His prime was cut short more due to injuries than Lundqvist was, but at his peak, he's a game-changing player. I mean, you want to see trades coming close to the trade deadline. I think what I'm focused on in covering them right now is like after the trade deadline for Game Over Montreal, I'm going to shift pretty hard into bringing on scouts, like amateur scouts, and talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the trade deadline coming up soon. We might have a SDPN level insider coming on the show soon to break down the Canadiens roster and who might move. But for the most part, I think the focus is in the front office. What is Kent Hughes and what is Jeff Gorton going to do to change things up? Are they going to hire a modern, robust front office, create a research and development staff, create a development staff? Because frankly, the Canadiens have less than half of the front office and development and research employees that they should have. They have the money to roll this out. They don't have the excuse to be hesitant about it anymore. Mm-hmm. Spend a 4th liner's money on a research and development program, essentially, and you'll be spending, maybe $2 million a year on it, and you'll be saving $20 million every couple of years on bad contracts.
I think, one of the best things you could say about Jeff Gorton, if you're a Habs fan, is, he inherited this Hall of Fame goalie and knew that the future of the franchise depended on his ability to replace them. And he's not there anymore, but look who the Rangers have in net.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Georgiev backing up
Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like he's man, that guy's a real deal. Earlier in the season, me and Rangers fans had it out because he made a wild amount of saves against the Leafs, but I didn't feel like the Leafs challenged him. Apparently, he's had, I don't know, 2-3 dozen of those games where he's just a Vezina caliber goalie. Easier said than done, but it's not like he picked him first overall with the Rangers. Maybe you start there.
I mean, the last time that Jeff Gorton took over a team before the Rangers, he went out and got another Vezina caliber goaltender right away in Tuukka Rask.
Just...
By the way, this is day 20,001 since the Leafs won the Cup.
Oh, good.
Andrew was the first guy to let us know that yesterday was day 20,000.
Via text.
It's nice of him.
Thanks for that.
Appreciate it.
You're
buddy.
welcome.
I didn't get any tweets about it, so it was good. That
Yeah,
you did
join
that.
my misery. I saw after I mentioned that on Twitter, somebody responded who was a Leafs fan. I was like, the nice thing about being a Leafs fan is I see this and I'm like, thought it'd be longer.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's just like it's synonyms.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I know they're bad. Like, how bad? Here's another way they're bad. Like, it's you can give me the amount of years, you can give me the amount of days. Throw in some months. How many seconds?
Be sure to check out Game Over International with Andrew Berkshire. And on the weekends, another round of applause. We're very excited to have Omar on board with this. Julian McKenzie is going to be handling Game Over Montreal on the weekends when Andrew is taking a much deserved break. But Andrew is a maniac and is doing Game Over Montreal and Game Over International on same days.
On the weekdays.
On the weekdays.
Julian's filling it.
Julian's filling on the
Yeah.
weekdays. You're doing weekends.
Yeah.
My bad.
Julian's doing weekends because the weekend games are all in the afternoon in February.
Yeah.
And I'll be sleeping
yeah.
then.
Yeah. So Andrew's doing both during the week.
So during the week, I think there's 2 games during the week where you're going to do the Game Over and then Game Over International? That's crazy.
It'll be Game Over in the evening, and then I'll be up all night watching Olympics, and then Game Over International in the morning. Then I'll take the kids to daycare and go to sleep.
Go to bed.
Now,
Have
before
you considered you're out of your mind?
Before I get any shitty comments, because for whatever reason I get blamed for this, I asked Andrew if that's what he wanted to do.
Why are you forcing him?
No, he said
no,
that.
answer the
he
question.
proposed this, and then I said, "Are you sure that seems like a lot?" And he said, "I got it." Right, Andrew? Is that kind of how the conversation?
Yes, that is 100% true. And the way it is like we talked about how we were going to do this show, right? And like it makes sense to do 6 a.m. so people have it on their morning commute. They can wake up, they can get the recap either live or on YouTube while they're eating their cereal or on a podcast in the car on the way to work.
It's a wonderful
whatever.
format.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. But in order to do it that early, I have to actually know what I'm talking about, right? So I've got to watch the actual Olympics, which happen in the middle of the night because it's happening in Beijing. So it just makes sense for me to switch it. And like the fact is, outside of the weekends, which are going to be kind of tough on my wife, I'll probably sleep less on the weekends. During the day, I'll just be sleeping while the kids are at daycare. So it's not going to disrupt things too much, except for like the first few days, I'll probably be loopy, but I'll caffeinate myself and figure it out. And for those who, when I got COVID over the holidays, for some reason, everyone decided that Adam was forcing me to continue doing Game Over Montreal, despite the fact that I was sick. And Adam was the first person who was like, do you want to have somebody else come in? You want us to just not do the shows? And I was like, I'm bored out of my mind, isolated in my basement. I'm not that sick. I'll just do it. And everyone was like, how dare Adam Wilde?
I'm literally like the one of the bad guys in Superman. What's the guy's name? The bald guy who's always like
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. I'm literally Lex Luthor. I feel like I'm like I don't know where this came from, but anyway, Andrew, you did a killer job.
I don't remember Lex Luthor being that exploitive.
Just the head of a
Adam
mega
needs to
eagle.
grow a mustache so he can twirl it.
I like that.
Andrew, do you have a guest for tomorrow?
Yes, they're
For
currently
tomorrow,
tied
we're-
to the train tracks. Adam Wilde, put them there. Sorry.
Who's coming on tomorrow?
I am in the midst of scheduling a lot right now,
Yeah.
but tomorrow so far, one guest, there may be 2. We're waiting to hear back. But Jared Book from Habs Eyes on the Prize, and he's an expert and veteran of covering women's hockey, is going to come on because honestly, I want to get as many people who know women's hockey the best, way better than me on, because I want to focus on that. And frankly, I just don't have the peak knowledge of that sport and those players that I would like to like cover it all on my own. So Jared has that. He's going to bring that tomorrow morning. He's going to come on a couple more times as well. And we also have Liz Knox coming on.
Hey!
Bring the knowledge.
Have you guys heard of her? That's so good.
That's so great. Well, listen, Andrew, you're about to embark on quite the journey. Enjoy the rest of your month because it's going to blow by. But we'll be watching, and I can't wait to hear the recaps every single morning because I'll be going to work by earlier than you'll be recording. But when I come home, I'll be watching them every night. So thank you so much, man, and keep kicking ass, man. It could not have been a worse Habs season to start a game over, and yet Andrew has jumped over every hoop, and it's a success anyway. So thank you, Andrew.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for doing this, guys. I'm excited to do it. I'm once again excited, not to jinx it, to cover some sports that
yeah, where they might win.
Yeah. Was that prepared statement good enough for you, Adam? Was that...
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
You can put down the gun now.
Good luck, bro.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.
Take care, buddy. Yeah. Hey, how about some resolutions? Like cleaning up down there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody likes it messy down there. How about you shine? How about you deodorize? How about you crop dust? All of those things are available when you go to manscaped.com and use your 20% off code, and that code is DANGLE. It's the Performance Package 4.0, where you can find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0, the electric trimmer designed to trim hair on loose skin. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks to your delicate areas. It also comes equipped with a 4,000K LED spotlight, so you can light it up. And also you can see what you're doing. And your grooming routine cannot be complete without applying the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. Before showing off your 2022 self, you must revive and preserve. These unique formulations take care of the parts of your body that can get a little sweaty. And you can be confident that when you're showing that part of your body off, it'll smell great. To complete your set, Manscaped also throws in a nice travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs just as free gifts because they like you. So remember, when you need to clean up down there, you go to manscaped.com and use that code DANGLE. 20% off and free shipping. Look after them. What are they? Balls. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out betterhelp.com/STP. The best way to think about therapy basically is I would say working out, but for your brain. And for your body to function, your brain's got to be in shape. That's why I go to therapy, and that's why you should check out BetterHelp, because here's the thing. You can do the in-person thing. You can do it over the phone. You can even do it over chat. It's completely up to you. It's whatever you're comfortable with, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. You invest in stocks. You invest in your body. Why are you not investing in your mind as well? This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and if you go to betterhelp.com/SDP, you'll get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp. So betterhelp.com/SDP to get 10% off your first month, and good mental health to you. So I'll also mention Jonathan Huberdeau joining me on Agent Provocateur with Alan Walsh. We're recording that next, so it'll be out tomorrow, likely.
Okay. Who is that?
First star of the week, NHL All-Star, likely Olympian, had the NHL gone.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, definite. Doug Armstrong said.
That's right. Doug Armstrong said. Everybody's an Olympian.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that. Okay, so listen, if we'd done this podcast after game one of the home and home with New Jersey, I feel like the conversation would have gone a lot different. But the two games back to back put a lot of stuff in context. And I think, what we saw the first night was Jack Campbell just not playing up to Jack Campbell's standard. It was really like a 4 or 5 game skid, and he was due. He was putting up outrageous numbers. Fine.
And the team was very bad.
Very bad in front of him.
Yeah.
But what I saw, the good stuff from Monday night carried over to Tuesday night. And what we saw on Tuesday night was the stuff I think we all want and expect the Leafs to be. Strong goalie, Chris Pratt passing, great structure.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
What?
No, Chris
The Devils signed him. They're desperate.
Yeah.
They need a goalie. They need someone
Chris
to
Pratt
make some
would
saves.
never sign with a team that has the name the Devils.
That's true.
Right.
He loves Jesus.
He sure does. More than you.
More than anybody.
And Raptors.
Strong goalie, crisp passes, great structure to the game, and really like a dominant offense. And I mean, obviously, I know Matt Matthews had a hat trick in the first game.
Right.
And that was amazing. But it felt like in the second game, It was the Bunting, Marner, Matthews show and nobody else.
That was bullying. That was the first line was so good it sort of distracted from the fact that no one else really had to do anything.
Well, David Kampf was just left alone to play shinny. And I think it was it Ray Ferraro that was like, that's a
shot in practice.
That's a shot in practice
Yeah,
that
it's
he
the
got.
line.
Like,
Dude,
nobody's there.
Mhm.
That was the moment I think all Devils fans should have slammed both feet on the panic button, because the second goal goes in and it's Matthews shooting gallery, and you could chalk that up to, it's Matthews and Marner. And then less than a minute later, Mikheyev and Kampf play the role of Matthews and Marner and score a near identical goal. And you go, oh, maybe we're just shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't had a lot of home and homes over the last couple years, but I feel like you learn a lot from them.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I started leaning towards embracing the fact that these games are going to be a little silly until after the All-Star break, let's just watch the games and have some fun and see what we get out of it. They're going to be like early season games where there's not nearly as much structure and you're just faced with the skill both teams have. What we found is the Leafs grossly outmatched the New Jersey Devils.
Mm-hmm.
Devils aren't a good team.
No.
They're too young. They're too inexperienced. There's not enough structure there.
No Mackenzie Blackwood with the heel problem.
Right. They don't have any real game breakers. You're not looking at Hughes that way. Subban's not that player anymore. Hamilton's not in the lineup, hasn't been for 12 games. And if you're looking for places for the Leafs to be like, okay, what can we learn from this? We know everyone who played great is great, but where was Willie and Tavares?
Yeah, they weren't really factors.
Where were they in the two games?
It's not the puck not going in. It's they weren't factors.
No.
Right? And by the way, with the Devils, do we put any of that at Schmid or Gilly's feet?
No.
You can't.
Blackwood and Bernier are good goalies and they miss them, but that's the effort. Dude, I texted someone, I was like, man, I wanted Damon Severson on the Leafs 30 hours ago. And now the entire fan base is like,
I think the problem with Damon Severson is that he is Jake Gardner, the second coming, and
right-handed.
And Jake Gardner in a strong lineup with a lot of structure thrives because he's a guy that goes a little bit goofy sometimes. Damon Severson, same sort of thing. No structure to that lineup. Nothing.
Right. Well, and you don't learn things from guys who are playing on really bad teams. It's hard. It's hard to
individual efforts.
It's hard to know what a player is when he's playing way out of his depth and there's no real support around him of other really good players.
Yeah. Damon Severson looked bad because the other four guys on the ice were also really out of place. I felt bad for him because people were tweeting please don't trade for him. Damon Severson's numbers underlying have been good for 4 or 5 years. It's just that team that he is playing on currently is deflated, dejected, and injured. Yeah. It's just not a good team.
Ray Ferraro between the benches is absolutely fantastic.
He's amazing.
The one thing he said last night where I was like, you're picking on him now, is the goal. It was the fourth or the fifth one where Severson was fiddling with his visor because it got mushed down into his face. Yeah, he was fiddling with it, but I didn't think it was his fault. The goal went in.
Yeah.
His man wasn't really the threat there.
Right.
Or the reason that it went in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great illustration of, look, add this to the list of things that went wrong for them. But I don't know. I thought it was a bit of a pile on.
I wanted to, there's not too much that you can deduce from a team that's as low down right now as the Devils are versus a team that is as high up as the Leafs are. At the All-Star break, the Leafs are on pace for 117 points, right?
They're fourth in points percentage, and based on points, they're third in the division.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've got the two best teams in the league in their division, right? And Boston. But I think
it's very
the
fun.
Leafs could set a record for points this year by over 10. We know that, which is amazing. The most they've ever had in a year.
Franchise record.
Yeah, franchise record. Most they've ever had in a year is 105. The one thing I'll say
2 years ago.
2 years
the
ago.
last full season is when they set that record. And we were all like, oh, it's that low?
Yeah.
Tampa's had 105 8 times in the last decade.
They might have beaten it last year.
I want to say this. The thing I keep seeing from the Leafs, or I kept seeing from the Leafs that I felt like I was seeing, but I'm sure the numbers will tell me I'm wrong, is that when the Leafs were supposed to win games, a lot of the times they were just squeaking by. And I've seen this not just this season, but there's been previous years where you're like, the Leafs are playing down to their opponent. We know they're better than this.
It's a common criticism.
It was nice to see a team that is supposed to steamroll another team steamroll the other team.
But outside of the first 2 periods of game 1. Like the first 2 periods, they looked terrible.
Yeah, I'm speaking specifically about last night.
They didn't wake up until the third. The third period was embarrassing because of how bad the Devils play. You see them in that third period; it was terrible. But the first 2, I was like, "Who is this team that looks worse than the Devils?"
Yeah, they got scored on 47 seconds into the home and home. Like, it wasn't good.
No,
everyone's like, "Oh, here we go again with Campbell." I'm like, "What the?" No one was there.
Right. It wasn't Jack Campbell.
Nobody was there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. To me, it feels like the same conversation we're having over and over again. They have the skill to get themselves out of these problems. But the funny thing is, for the first part of the season, the first half, they've been so skilled that they've never really run into that problem where they had to claw back. Here's the best news. The best news we can take from the home and home. And from the last couple weeks, Marner is a goddamn dog.
Oh my god,
Marner's been great,
unbelievable.
Who pissed in his cornflakes?
Might have been us.
It might have been. Like, dude,
I'm glad.
Yeah, great.
This is great.
Wow, like it's not just that the puck's going in. The 7-game goal streak, he got 2 last night, and the second one is at the speed of smell.
Yeah.
How did that go in?
I watched the replay, and Natalie was like, "I still don't know how that went in. I still didn't see the shot."
Matthews completely took away Schmid's eyes. He didn't see a thing.
There was a moment in game 1 in the third period, I think it was, when they were just rolling and they were on the penalty kill. And Hall had a pass where he sent it up the ice just to ice the puck. And Marner was exiting the zone, and he was pissed off because Hall didn't feed him the puck. Because he's like, I have a break here, and I can go up the ice and score this shorthand. Marner's looking to score, and it's beautiful to see. And I love everything I've seen out of him the last couple weeks.
The entire penalty kill, dude.
Oh, yeah.
On
the penalty kill, he's looking to score.
Yeah. David Kampf is out there, like, fucking trying to win the Rocket. Every penalty kill.
Yeah.
Him, Mikheyev, Kerfoot. The Leafs forwards on the penalty kill have been amazing. And on this home and home against the Devils, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but did the Leafs penalty kill outshoot the Devils power play? I wouldn't be shocked.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be shocked. If it wasn't shots on goal, it was perhaps Corsi, because the Devils are like having to scramble back and block them because they were animals, just dogs. And Marner, oh my God.
What is he at, 12 points in 6 games or something? Since coming back,
it's like 16-7 or something.
Okay. Yeah, 7 goal.
Yeah, that's the shocking part. And you know, it's funny, Steve. You were talking about this on Twitter the other day.
Yes, I was.
Steve's like, there's no reason why Mitch Marner can't get 30 goals, and people got on you about that.
Yeah, like they're acting like he hops over the boards with a pool noodle, and it's just not the case. You know, it's I've said this. Perhaps with some naivety over the time that we've had this podcast, but I watch professional athletes who are able to do things that we can't. Mm-hmm. And Mitch Marner doesn't take one-timers. And I'm watching him and I'm like, but why? His body can do it. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't he do it? And it's like Matthews, man. He scored 40 as a rookie. Were any of them slap shots?
I think they were all that sneaky drag shot that he used to do all the time.
He figured out, okay, I got to sort of diversify, my tool belt here. And Marner has done the same as of late. So adding that slap shot makes him a more dangerous player on the power play, and adding a little bit of here the fuck I come to his 5-on-5 play makes that line so formidable. That the conversation after the game was, Willie and Tavares, they're slumping. I didn't look at it as that dire. I just remember there was a point last night where I go, oh, they're here.
But that's what offensive depth looks like. One night, one line's going. The other night, the other line's going.
Yeah. You know who? Also, I think we're reading way too much into it because that game was a carnival. Mm-hmm. Because which Leafs forward led all Leaf forwards in ice time last night?
JT.
No, it wasn't JT.
Michael Bunting.
No, it wasn't Michael Bunting.
I don't know.
It was
Kerfoot?
at like 18 minutes and 20 seconds. It was David Kampf.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, because they had the lead
Right.
from, like, when did Spezza score? 2:20
Yeah.
into the game? The fourth line, Engvall looking like Gretzky behind the nets. Like, guys, eat your candy and shut up. Like it was a stupid win at a stupid time in the stupid season, and I enjoyed every moment of it.
David Kampf has 14 points in 42 games this year. Last year in 56, he had 12. One of those were goals. He's got 5 already this year. By the way, this is the highest shooting percentage he had. His shooting percentage last year was 1.6%. It is now 10%.
David Kampf has
That's
more goals this season against the Blackhawks than he had last year for them.
Wow. There you go. Now, there's a couple
What's
players.
the number? What's that number?
2.
I want to ask you. I want to ask you a
if it
couple.
was a significant number.
Couple players I want to talk to you about. Jason Spezza being number one.
Mhm.
Now, Jason had a great year last year. He had, I think, I'm just looking up the points right now, 30 points in 54 games.
That's so dumb.
10
That's so
goals, 20
stupid.
assists. It's so round, 10, 20, 30. This year, 15 points in 38. Maybe not at the exact same pace, but we have to remember how close this person is to 40.
Oh, yeah.
When that fourth line gets out there, Engvall, who has scored a few in the last couple of games, Wayne Simmons, who is playing a Wayne Simmons role,
Mm-hmm.
and Spezza, who is a legitimate threat every time he hits the ice, which is wild to say because it looked like, it would look like his last season in Dallas. He was washed.
Underratedly, first of all, yes, but underratedly, Simmons decided, hey, I'm skills guy. Now, he was at one point in his career, but he just decided I'm bringing that back. And the amount of ridiculous plays he has made that haven't quite gone in the net, it's interesting. The fourth line was so good for the first 30 games or so. They had a bit of a lull when they were trying to figure out what they are. And now Engvall has buried Nick Ritchie beneath the Earth's crust.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
He's not coming back.
Mm-mm.
Unless someone gets hurt, he's never coming back. Because Engvall's been so good. I was talking to Drew about it, producer Drew. Engvall he's fascinating. He's 6'5", 215, 220. One of the fastest guys on the team. He can rip it. And why doesn't he put up at least 50 points a season? Because he's not a great decision maker. He takes a ton of penalties. He doesn't have the coach's trust. And lately he's just put it together. He's just really put it together.
Almost like he looked like he was before the extension was signed.
Yeah, he was scoring half a point a game. And when he signed that extension, I'm like, Kyle Dubas, genius. 2 years. We were talking about, I was talking about that contract like the Bunting one. I was like, and he got the second year. And then he disappeared, and also the cap stayed flat forever.
Yeah.
So, things changed. But, this is why we keep talking about the deadline and, the Leafs are in on this guy. What if they get Claude Giroux? I don't give a shit. They're fine up front. They're fine. They're so ridiculously deep. It's just in front of the net, tidy that up, and now you're a contender.
They looked okay without Muzzin the last 2 games, but I don't know how much you take away from it considering their competition, but defense looked all right.
I wonder how much of that is Sandin settling into a role a little bit, because he's been sort of pinged around the lineup. And also, kind of underratedly, Justin Hall is kind of playing his best hockey
Yeah, Justin Hall's been really good.
of the
really good.
season.
Yeah.
Liljegren, after a few real bad games,
He looked great last night.
has
Flying.
looked great. And Dermott has struggled with the flip-flopping between the right side and the left side.
And that's hard.
It is hard. And he looked like he found his niche on the right. He's back on the left where he struggled, and he's played fine.
The other guy I wanted to bring up specifically, and I want to know what you guys think about this, is Michael Bunting. Now,
God!
we're starting to have conversations.
Scarborough God.
Starting to have conversations about Michael Bunting, and people are asking this. This might be outlandish, but I want to ask the question, and I want to
Don't you fucking dare.
Is Michael Bunting currently a better fit on that line than Zach Hyman would have been currently. Contract out of it.
That's not what I thought where you were going.
No.
I thought you were going to say, should the Leafs sell high? And I was going to kick you.
No, they got to win the cup.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
No, I don't know who said that.
I don't know. I've just heard it. I've heard it before. Like, when McCabe had like that 20-goal season, people were like, they should sell high on Brian McCabe. I'm like, they're talking about him for the Norris Trophy. You can't.
No, you build around someone like that. Michael Bunting.
I understand the logic, but you have to think with a soul.
Yeah, it's not, it wasn't the question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry. I was pre-arguing
You made
with
up
my friend.
you made up your own question and then got mad about it.
And then asked himself the
And
answer.
then-
yeah.
And then got mad
I
at
fucking
himself.
dare you.
What?
How could you say that? First, you asked Berkshire to work when he has COVID. Then you're telling him to work 30-hour days, and now you want to trade Michael Bunting? Fuck
No
you,
one asked
Wild.
Okay, so Jesse, I'm going to go to you. The question is, Zach Hyman being the player Zach Hyman is, Michael Bunting being the player Michael Bunting is, age differences included, contract differences not. Is Michael Bunting a better fit with Marner and Matthews than Zach Hyman would have been this year?
Bunting he adds a different element to the line because he's a threat to score. And you never looked at Zach Hyman in the same way as, he can get a hat trick on a Saturday night.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh, I 100% don't think anybody thought, okay, it's Marner, it's Matthews, and it's Hyman. And you know what? Hyman's going to have that hat trick on Saturday. But Bunting adds that element.
You thought Bunting was going to get a hat trick?
I didn't think so, but now that I know what kind of player he is after watching him for half a season, I'm like, there's a threat to score on that line in addition to Matthews and Marner. Mm-hmm. And whichever one you want to go with, if you want Hyman on that line or you add Bunting or you want Bunting on that line, they're different players. They're not the same.
Right.
They're not the same third option to those two guys. They're bringing something different to the table. So it depends on what kind of hockey you want to play with that line. That line's going to be, if they're an overall in NHL 22, because as a GM, that's how I look at things. If that line is a 95 combined with each of those guys, I think they'd be at the same level, but they would bring different roles to each.
What role do you like better?
Oh gosh, right now, considering how the Montreal series played out in the playoffs, that's my reference point for everything Leafs right now, because until they get to the playoffs, none of this ever matters. I like having Michael Bunting there. I like adding an extra element of scoring just in case the guys who we expect to get it done on the score sheet don't get it done.
I think.
By the way, they are scoring this year at about the same pace. Bunting's played about 7 more games than Hyman, so it's not a total comparison.
Right.
But 29 points, 25 points.
Mm-hmm. But those, I think Hyman with McDavid is a different role than Hyman with Matthews and Marner.
Yes. So Hyman has had. It's sort of a developmental thing. Hyman, for his entire career, professionally, has had to be a babysitter, basically. And, Babcock is like, all right, you're going to babysit Matthews and Nylander. And he's like, I'm a rookie too, but okay. And, so I'll try to figure it out. And basically every line he's been on, he's sort of filled the role of defensive specialist. Mm-hmm. Or the guy who has to be the most defensively responsible. Bunting has the least defensive responsibility on that line now. They're forcing, Matthews.
Matthews this after this offseason has turned into a defensive force. Like
yes.
his two-way game as a center is unbelievable. And that's why it's a completely different game with Bunting as opposed to Hyman, because Hyman handled a lot of that for him.
And Mitch too. And Hyman is stronger. He's more brute force. He's probably stronger in front of the net, which I think is going to piss some Leaf fans off. But I've seen the dude; he's jacked. But Bunting plays the game with more aggressiveness and violence. He's more annoying to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Hyman can defend himself. Bunting is an asshole. And there's a huge difference. There's an element of fuck you that Bunting brings that the Leafs sorely need. I'm not saying that to take anything away from Hyman, but it's completely changed the structure of that line.
I know that, Jesse, people are going to get on you a little bit for saying, well, Zach Hyman scored over 20 goals and, blah, 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 blah. it took a while, and people forget, it took a while for Zach Hyman to develop that scoring touch.
Yeah.
And while he had especially his last 2-3 seasons, he had 2 21-goal seasons, it started to kind of pick up. I'm with you. I think there's more of a finish in Bunting's game. I think that's fair to say. And
Hyman finally started to get his power play cookies too.
Yeah,
they
true.
didn't give him any.
That's true.
Yeah,
For
how
a
many of
long
those are
time.
5-on-5 goals with the line we're talking about? Isn't that the instance we're talking about 5-on-5 when the first line is running?
Yeah, Bunting doesn't
Not-
have a ton.
Yeah,
Hyman
Bunting's
had-
not running on the power play, getting extra cookies there.
Hyman had 3 power play goals 2 years ago, 3 last year, and 3 this year, and before that, 0. So
thought he had
his
more.
power play points were 6, 5, and 5. He's only got 16 career power play
Really?
points. Yep.
I'm surprised.
Bunting, I just thought, I do see a different element to what Matthews and Marner do with Bunting out there. It just seems a bit more, a bit quicker. Does that make any sense?
Oh, it's way quicker.
They're also better players. Like maybe Hyman,
Matthews
Matthews and
didn't-
Marner
Yeah,
are
they
also
are.
better players from when they were together last
year.
So
It is amazing. There's this kid he's 24, who'd played 26 NHL games. 26
Bunting.
games.
Yeah.
Bunting. He's now played 42, so he doubled that this year. And I have to give enormous credit to Kyle Dubas for finding that.
Yep.
Like and signing him to a 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times to criticize Kyle Dubas, and we've taken them. I think on this one, you look at what he's done with Kampf, Kasha, and Bunting. Unflippin' believable signings, all of them.
Yeah, super important. People pointing out Richie. Yeah, the deal hasn't been good. People pointing out Mrazek. The guy's been hurt.
And I don't even think he's played that bad when he was playing.
No,
Not bad.
but to replace not just Zach Hyman as an idea, as a player, but as an idea. I had never heard of David Kampf in my entire life, and they signed him for over $1 million.
Yeah, and
to
we were
be
like,
their
who the fuck is
shutdown
this?
center, and I was like, this is going to be a goddamn disaster. And they bring in Andre Kasha. I'm like, cool, he's going to play 8 games. And they bring in Bunting, and I'm like, his shooting percentage is going to tank. And there was a moment this season where they put him on the 4th line, and I was like, oh boy, this is not going to go well. And the Oilers have won 20 of their last 15 games to start the season.
Yeah.
And he's gonna look really bad. And Bunting, Kasha, Kampf, like what a ridiculous trio of signings up front.
Michael Bunting's shooting percentage last year is 26.3%. Now, if you're Kyle Dubas and you look at that and you go, even if that regresses in half, that's still a 20 or 30 goal guy.
Right.
Now, he's shooting 14% this year,
Really, I thought you were gonna say it went up.
which is a career low. Because his first season in Arizona, he scored 1 goal and he played 5 games, so he had a 20%, and last year's 26%.
Love it.
This is, I have to say, credit where it's due. It's amazing. It really is on forward. To me, this is my favorite, especially in the last 20 games, my favorite forward group I've ever seen with the Toronto Maple Leafs, ever. I'm talking about
they're
JVR,
fun.
I'm talking about Bozak, I'm talking about Kadri, I'm talking this group, and I have a lot more confidence with David Kampf on the ice. And I think people, given the season that Nazem Kadri's had, and given that we're Leaf fans, that we're always lustful for the past which is always horrific. I don't know why we're doing this to ourselves. Nazem Kadri's had an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
He's on pace for 120 points. It's insane. That doesn't mean that David Kampf is not a really good fit for that role. And I don't think anybody's criticizing David Kampf, but I think everybody's like, well, man, if we still had Kadri, I think we need to look at the options that we have with David
Where does
Kampf.
the Kadri comp comparison come
Yeah,
in?
like when
It's not
when
a
do-
comparison, but it's more like, if we only had him on the 3rd line, we'd be that much better.
Yeah, but
No.
like when do we let that go?
I think it's time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, it's done.
Listen,
Good. I'm
guys,
happy for not.
They lost the trade. All
They
right,
did.
Move on.
Yeah.
Mason Marchment too. Oh yeah, you all fucking called it.
Oh, Mason
Like-
Marchment was not. I don't think Mason Marchment was getting a shot on the Leafs. They were not a
No,
shot. Not a
guys.
hope in hell.
He got an assist against the Jets, and we were all like, more than I expected. Cool.
Also, they
Yeah.
lost
Like-
the Kadri trade in a vacuum, but Kadri couldn't come back with the team after he kept getting suspended.
Yeah.
Like, it was a locker room move as much as it was an on-ice move. He just couldn't. It was, if you
can't.
look at the whole circumstance, the trade needs to happen. It's okay.
Dubas as a GM can't let that happen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think the other thing is the
Imagine the shit he would have got.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. And listen, I love Nas. We've said that before, but I think this forward group is my favorite one. It's my favorite
So
one.
we're all taking Bunting over Hyman.
I won't let my mouth say that. I just really like Bunting.
Adam.
Oh.
I like Hyman too much to disparage.
If we
him
take
like
the we're not
Disparage it.
disparaging him.
that. Jesse,
Not
why,
everything is life and death, people.
why are you disparaging him?
So this is the
and
thing.
making
I'm
Berkshire
talking
work.
just about a
No,
hockey
no.
line.
I need to know.
Jesse, you touched on something great there. Why can't we like both, but enjoy one more than the other currently?
Why can't I say, hey, I like what I'm watching with my eyes, and I see Bunting score a couple of goals, and I like that more than what Hyman brought?
It's 2022, and you put your stamp on everything forever, and that's how it works. Why do you hate Zach Hyman?
Adam, do you hate Zach Hyman?
I do not. I think Zach Hyman's a good human being. I think he's an incredible player. He was heart and soul for the Leafs last year.
Yeah.
I also think that by him leaving, the Leafs forward group had to grow. I think they left.
Yeah.
I think they left a lot on his shoulders and said Zach will take care of it. And then once Zach was gone, it was like, well, I guess we better take care of it. I've seen more growth in the Marner, Matthews, Nylander group because I think Tavares was already kind of past that part this year, as proportional to this previous season than any year before. And I mean that in the best way. It wasn't like again, it's not like they were bad last year. So don't take me the wrong way. But this group, if I were to talk about Austin Matthews' game, it's spectacular, it's amazing, but it's mature. Defensively, Jesse pointed it out earlier. You saw him. Do you remember when New Jersey's 2-man advantage ended yesterday? One of their 2-man advantage, the first 2-man advantage ended, and one of their players zoomed out of the box, almost got the breakaway, and Matthews was the guy back covering.
Yeah.
Matthews was the guy that broke that up. Stopped him before the blue line even hit.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Even like little things on the face-off. Like Matthews is so good at the face-off dot this year.
Yep.
Yes, and he was like a 42% his
Yeah.
first year.
Him and Tavares and Kampf and Spezza, they were number one in the league last I checked.
Unbelievable.
Like the forward group does
It's
a
great.
staggering amount of stuff.
And I think
Yeah.
it's a credit to Kyle Dubas. I keep looking at Ricard Raquel and thinking, I wonder if he's not the next Andre Kasha on the Leafs.
Yeah. My concern,
He's a UFA.
My concern is the conversation we just had and how great that forward group is, and
Someone's
not
going to leave.
wanting to tinker with it.
Someone's going to leave.
Yeah, they're going to leave at some point. No, I mean mid-season.
Oh,
Like-
no, I wasn't talking about now. I'm talking about in the offseason.
Oh yeah,
I think
man, we talk about the sort of golden handcuffs he's given himself with these contracts, and also God gave him with
COVID, yeah.
COVID and the cap staying flat and everything. Keep bringing up God and blaming him for stuff. I'm sorry, but God, he knocked it out of the park with a few of them.
Yeah. I also want to quickly ask you guys, with Josh Hosang going to the Olympics,
Awesome.
and he's going to have, he's had a really good season with the Marlies, and the AHL is a lower scoring league. So when you have somebody that's got 20 points in 30 games, which I think Josh Hosang does, it's pretty good. He has said that I love this. This is from Terry Koshan from the Toronto Sun. One of the things that's really helped me in the Toronto organization is I feel heard there. My opinion seems like it matters, and it inspires me to do a lot better on the ice because I feel like I have a stake in what's going on. He also talked about in some interviews that he was too focused on himself and on the future and being successful immediately to focus on the present and delivering and developing. So he's got an AHL-only contract. When he comes back, he's going to get the showcase of the Olympics, and people are going to be watching. He's going to have a contract offer from at least a few NHL teams.
Yes.
Do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs signed Josh Hosang as depth going into the playoffs because he's got the tools to do it?
Man, here's the thing. They sign him. Don't they still risk losing him to waivers?
Not re-entry, would he?
I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, does he have to clear waivers to become an NHLer?
I think he does.
Yeah.
That is insanely stupid that anything like that has to happen.
I don't understand it because, waivers are there to give players an NHL opportunity and basically get players into the NHL and making NHL money.
Sure, as many as possible.
That's what it's there for. But I think back to a few years ago when Evgeny Nabokov signed a contract with
Detroit.
I think it was Detroit, and the Islanders were like, "You're an Islander now," and
he was like, "I don't want to be an Islander."
Yeah, who does that help? If he wanted to be one, he would have signed with them. What? I just signed a contract with the team. I play 0 games for them, and I'm not on their team the next day? Who does this help? Who does this help? How does that make any sense? Who
Other
negotiated
than,
this?
I guess you could make the argument that like large market teams can afford more of those contracts, or they have more influence.
Yes.
Right.
So here's what hopefully happens selfishly if you're a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Is Josh Ho-Sang is being compensated well enough at the AHL level that he won't want to sign an NHL deal until the offseason when the Leafs can just outright sign him. There's no waivers required. And if he makes the team out of camp, he makes the team out of camp. And if he doesn't, he goes on waivers. But that's what waivers are for. He thought he was getting an NHL opportunity, and now he's not. So you go on waivers so that you can get another NHL opportunity. Forget the Leafs. Let's say he signs a deal with the San Jose Sharks and the Philadelphia Flyers come in and claim him. I signed with the Sharks. I wanted to be a Shark.
Or you sign with the team that you expect is going to the playoffs, and then another team says, yoink, we'll take you, and you get to lose the rest of the way.
Yeah, tell you what. Let's go Sabres. I know you thought you were going to a contender, but how about let's go Sabres? Let me introduce you to Alex Tuck and like
Tage Thompson.
4 other dudes. Like, yeah, if that is the case, I don't actually know it's the case. It's very bizarre.
It
But
doesn't help anybody.
But
It's a great story all the same.
Exactly. We're losing sight of that. It's awesome for him. There was a scary moment where it looked like he wouldn't be going to the Olympics because he got a concussion in the AHL, but he's had a great season.
And a couple of things from 32 Thoughts, the blog, especially coming around trade deadline. CJ and Elliot Friedman's feeds are like, I have them sent directly to my phone. Number 4 on this one. After mentioning Toronto's interest in Josh Manson, one exec joked with me, the Leafs have been interested in him since Punch Imlach was GM, and Anaheim will have many options there. Now, I have heard from some Ducks fans who are like, I'm not really sure why you guys want Josh Manson so bad. His underlying numbers aren't great. That's what they said. I haven't actually even checked that.
I mean, remember when, wasn't it Eric Francis was like, yeah, TJ Brody's got a bit of that Jake Gardner.
And he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. It's no. So, and like I did see someone else talk about, yeah, he doesn't have the greatest underlying numbers, but he is tough. And I'm like, cool, great, good, sounds good. I'll have that. They need an asshole. They need an asshole. They have guys who can move the puck. It's fine. Even people talk about Jake Muzzin like he's never made a pass in his entire life. Like, guys, the Leafs can move the puck. They're fine. Get an asshole. We miss Zach Bogosian.
We do miss Zach Bogosian.
But we need... Bogosian was Squirtle, and we need at least War Turtle.
Fair.
Right? It's Squirtle on the third
A Blastoise
pair.
would be nice, but I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Blastoise would be nice, but it costs a lot.
They do.
Right? So you need War Turtle there at, evolves level 16, if I remember correctly. Josh Manson can be our War Turtle.
Okay, done. Jeff Merrick also mentioned, and this is Elliot made mention of this, Owen Tippett and Frank Vetrano could be traded out of Florida because their forward lineup is so deep they can't fit them.
Like, do you just weep openly, deep, bitter tears if you're a forward traded out of Florida right now? Everything turns to gold.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
I mean, listen, everything they've had since 1996 has turned to dust, so they're due.
Right. Yeah, this is...
they're due.
Like, regression against time. This is... It's... If someone on the Panthers were to get injured and they signed someone out of the ECHL and just threw him into the top 6, you can be pretty confident that dude's going to have 60 points. Like, that's the old Mark Donk and Buzz Flibbit joke from Actin' a Foolamin with the Penguins. No, this is like Mecha Donk and Uber Flibbit. Like, they're monsters. Mason Marchment?
I know.
It's 6 points in one night. By the way, everyone was talking about Mason Marchment versus Dennis Malgin, and I was wondering when I was going to see a Leaf fan compare Mason Marchment's stats to Nick Ritchie's stats, because Marchment had 6 points in one night. Ritchie has 9 points on the season.
Where is Nick Ritchie right now?
Chilling.
He's
popcorn.
He's just like off the roster, right?
Yeah, no, he's on the roster.
I think he
him
travels
and
with
Clifford
them.
are the extras.
Oh, he does travel and
Yeah.
stuff? Okay.
And it's good to know that,
Just
like,
chilling.
if somebody goes down, like anybody on that fourth line, I could see moving up in the lineup.
Sure.
More Spezza and Engvall than Simmons, but I could see it. And if the two guys stepping in are Ritchie and Clifford, I don't hate it.
That's okay. No,
Yeah.
Again, don't tinker with the damn thing. But like, there was a time where we would have looked at, the Leafs have an open slot, fourth line, left wing. Oh man, it'd be great if we could get Nick Ritchie for that. And Mason Marchment would be, we have Nick Ritchie at home. And now the roles have reversed.
Right.
Nick Ritchie is, we have Mason Marchment at home,
Right.
which is wild.
I want to talk about the NHL scoring race. Do you guys know who is in the lead? Most goals.
Chris Kreider.
Chris Kreider.
How many?
33?
33.
33.
34. 47 games played, 33 goals. Torrid pace. Following that, Leon Draisaitl in 41 games has 31 goals. Ovechkin in 46 has 29. And Matthews at number 4, 39 and 29. So
He's coming up the rear, right?
Matthews? Yeah. Well, because I think he went 6 games without scoring or 5 games without scoring.
And chew.
And there he is.
Yep.
So, Hey Shay on Twitter wrote an article today about Chris Kreider's pace and how, yes, it's not sustainable because if the pace keeps up, he'll score 58 goals this year.
He can score. I could see Chris Kreider finishing with like near 50.
I can too.
Yeah.
The way he's scoring.
It's wild because I don't even think he's the best goal scorer on the Rangers.
Oh,
no, I don't think so. Either.
I'd probably say that's Zibanejad and Panarin being the best playmaker, but Kreider's an animal right now.
It's insane too because at number 5 is Alex DeBrincat, and his numbers are so similar to Kreider, right? All goals, no assists,
Cy
right?
Young.
Yeah, they're all front of the net goals where they're just banging and crashing them in.
Yeah. And I'm just
Playoff style.
with Matthews, who is the reigning Rocket Richard Trophy winner. I felt like what we saw in Game 1 versus New Jersey was him going, "Okay, we're going to win this game now."
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, and I said, I remember saying out loud, I'm like, we are like an Austin Matthews slap shot away from being 4-3 here.
Oh yeah.
And it's just seems so automatic. So my question to you is, of the 4 I just named, and remember, Austin Matthews has played the fewest games of anybody. Ovechkin, Matthews, Draisaitl, Kreider. Who wins the Rocket Richard? The way too early prediction, Steve, Jesse.
I got Draisaitl.
Yeah, Draisaitl.
Ovechkin, Matthews, Draisaitl, Kreider.
Oh, maybe I should have picked Ovechkin.
Oh.
I'm going to take Ovechkin.
Oilers are so hot and cold, but when they're hot, they get
Just
12 goals in 2 games.
insane amounts of points. Yeah.
Oh man. And what are the Leafs gonna do better? They're 4th.
Right.
Oh. Ovi, give us one more.
One
Give
more?
us one more, old man.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ovechkin because that's what I'm rooting for.
Just because, just for the sake that he's like 30 million years old.
No,
Yeah, and
I want Matthews to hit 75, but continue.
He's the greatest goal scorer of all time, and I want to see him keep doing it.
Man, the other day in one of my memories, an article came up that I wrote about Ovechkin and how great he was historically. It's from 2015.
Mm-hmm. I remember you were one of the first people to talk to me about, hey, maybe he beats Gretzky's record.
Well, I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, he's got to keep it going for a while, but we were talking about, he's got a legitimate shot at beating Gretzky if by this age and last year he slows down to 30 a season. He's got 29 now.
In 46. So
He's been on pace to pass Gretzky, but that's only if he keeps up the pace. And magically, he's done that. It's unbelievable.
He's on pace to bury Gretzky.
Yeah, I think he's on pace for
unbelievable.
another 55 goals this year. Matthews is somewhere close to 60. Kreider's 58. Draisaitl would be somewhere in the neighborhood of Matthews. I think, to me, it's going to come down to the way it's going, because you got to remember, Draisaitl and Matthews have played 6 or 7 games less than the other guys.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to those two.
February is going to be big.
And if I'm going to give it to anybody on this one, I'm going to give it to Matthews, and I'll tell you why. The Leafs are just a more consistent team. And I think that's why I think he's going to get it. I think that the support system around Austin Matthews, not that he doesn't deserve it, he's an unbelievable goal scorer. I think Leon Draisaitl is going to win points. He's going to be the point leader again. I know Huberdeau's ahead right now, so nobody tell Alan I said that.
Yeah.
But I think Austin Matthews is the Rocket Richard Trophy winner again. And he's also, remember, it's Mitch Marner setting him up.
God, they're good.
They are good.
They're so good. Well, and also the Oilers, I mean, isn't the whole thing with them they want to spread it out?
That's what they're trying to do. I don't know if that's possible. Like, how are you going to spread it out when you've got those two?
You got Kane now.
By not playing them together.
Yeah. You
'cause
do have Kane.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Hyman and Puljujärvi and Nugent Hopkins and you had one guy in there and it looks a lot better.
Yeah, he definitely changes things.
Yeah.
By the way,
I don't think that was ever the argument against him.
what Leaf has the most assists on the team?
It's not Marner. He's been hurt too much. Morgan Riley?
Morgan Riley.
Hey.
11th in the NHL in assists.
Wow.
33 assists. He has 38 points in 42 games.
Oh my God.
That's another
Good
season we need to talk about. Like, remember he had, what do you have, 70 points a couple years ago?
72. Yes. 72 and 20 goals.
Looking an awful lot like he might be able to do that again.
Yeah, man. And again, like we talk about how unfair starting goaltender in Toronto is, where if you're bad, you're a piece of shit. And when you're good, it's all right, good.
Mm-hmm. You're doing your job.
Congrats on doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of Morgan Riley. Like, he set that standard for himself, and now even if he gets back to it, people are just like, good, yeah, all right.
Yeah, being a top pairing defenseman on the Toronto Maple Leafs for the last 25 years has been a thankless job.
Yeah, sure
Either
has.
you're doing it right and good, you're doing it, or if you're bad, we're going to burn you at the stake.
Run you out of town, man.
Yeah.
Running you right out of town, right to Detroit so you can win a cup, Larry Murphy.
Yeah, people like talk about how like I've gotten more negative. Like, people expect Morgan Riley to fail.
Yep.
Why? Based on what?
I think that no. I don't know if they expect him to fail. I think we always knew Morgan Riley could put up points. I think my concern was obviously the Leafs salary cap, and I've just kind of thrown that out the window. Who fucking cares?
Well,
they'll figure it out.
like,
They clearly always do, so they'll figure it out.
What do people think top pair of defensemen are worth?
I think people think what's keeping him out of the Hedman discussion. It's clearly not the points.
He's not Hedman.
Well, he's not Hedman, but the Hedman is like the best defenseman in the league because he's so great defensively. And I think people are like, well, Morgan Riley's all great on the points, but what are the detractions from his defense? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Hedman is also the Nathan McKinnon of defensemen.
Yes, I 100% agree.
That contract's a one-off. He's 7.
I wouldn't even talk about the contract, just the skill.
Oh, just the skill.
He's also the best of the best.
Yeah, no, he's the best
Like,
defenseman. It's
So I think people are like, okay, I think what they have is Morgan Riley. Okay, you want him to be the best defenseman. He's going to be the lead defenseman in the Leafs, really, because he is.
Yeah.
Well, he's not any good at defense. That's what his most intense detractors say.
Yeah, but I think he's a little bit better than they say.
I would agree with that. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there. Now, I would like to, I want to shout out Paul Hendrick at Henny.
I
tweets.
love him. I miss him.
I miss him too. The Leafs, you know what? That was the worst roster move the Leafs have made in the last 2 years, is not having Paul Hendrick be a part of it anymore.
He made it.
Did he make it?
He took a step back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, I don't like it. Anyway, here's what he tweeted. He said, the foundation of a rebuild. Leafs closed out 2016 with a loss to New Jersey prior to drafting Austin Matthews 2 months later. Let's talk about what that roster looked like that night, because he posted the roster.
Oh,
Okay, I need to go soon.
You need to go
So,
soon? Oh.
I don't know if we have all
because
the time for
because
this.
of Walsh?
Yeah, we have a podcast. for
Okay,
Walsh.
let me run you through.
Okay.
Let me run you through. Unless you want to do it from here. Do you just want to do it from here?
No, I can't. It's
Okay.
not an option.
Okay. So here we go. You ready?
Yes.
And then we'll close out
Yes.
the show.
I'm going to tell you the career stats of each player.
Brooks Like, Tyler Bozak, P.A. Parenteau on the first line.
Good God.
Second line, Colin Greening, William Nylander, Tobias Lindbergh.
Stop it.
Third line, Michael Grabner, Frederick Gauthier, Leo Komarov, All-Star Leo Komarov that year.
Oh, my.
Fourth line, Sam Carrick, Byron Frazee, Brad Boyce.
Byron Fraser.
Defenseman,
Again.
Morgan Riley, Martin Marincin on the first pairing. And you don't think Morgan Riley's good. Second pairing, Jake Gardner, Frank Corrado, friend of the show.
Hey.
Andrew Campbell and TJ Brennan bringing up the bottom pair.
Hey, soup.
And your two goalies are Garrett Sparks and Jonathan Bernier.
Mother of God.
It's a bad team. Anyway, it was the start of something great, and that was a fun season. I do remember that. So we'll wrap it up there. We're going to be back Friday, and remember, we got that big, long broadcast on Friday night, twitch.tv/SDPN, correct?
No, twitch.tv/SDPN live.
Live.
Yeah.
Straight to live. All right, Jesse, go home. Get the hell out of here.
Yay!
We'll see you Friday.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.